It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. So Andrew Berry spoke to the media yesterday, and we discussed immediately afterwards his comments. But Tyvis, you weren't here, so I want to start this with you. I want to take a bigger picture outlook on some things Andrew Berry talked about yesterday. He didn't specifically commit to Deshaun Watson as the quarterback of the future. He also didn't definitely say he won't be back. When you look at this team in whole, do they need a complete tear down and rebuild to get back into contention, or do you believe a few tweaks here and there, they could be back in playoff contention next season?
First of all, I've never been a fan of a total rebuild. I think that they just need a couple of positions here and there. Mainly, I think that they need to address I think they need an explosive wide receiver. Quarterback position.
A true number one, right?
Yeah, they need a true number one. One that guys will be like, we got a game plan for them. If they get that unlocks Judy, that unlocks Cedric Tillman. They got to have somebody that, like, if they had Amari Cooper when he was like 24, like, that would be perfect because teams would be like, oh, this guy can do everything.
Not a lot of options there.
No.
I mean, T. Higgins is a free agent. You consider him a legit number one?
No, I don't.
DK Metcalf, then. Maybe they make a trade for him. There's nobody else. T. Higgins is the best wide receiver on free agency. So if you don't consider him a true number one, then they're going to have to trade.
Or they're going to have to hit in the draft.
Okay.
Which this would be the first time they would draft a wide receiver in the first round since Corey Coleman.
Yeah, how'd that turn out?
Jesus.
Well, that wasn't. AB didn't make
well,
that.
True. AB's done a great job drafting wide receivers.
Talk to him.
Man, we had the worst GM. Ray Farmer wanted receivers who were 5'9".
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
Can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. The floor. Mike gave me the floor.
Go ahead. You got the floor back.
As far as if they find the wide receiver, I think that unlocks a lot of things. And as hard as it might say, you got to assess the running back position as well. I'm sorry. Like I know Nick Chubb is beloved. You can bring Nick Chubb back, but I think you still need a dynamic running back because I don't think Jerome Ford is that guy. He hasn't shown to be that guy, even with the opportunities that he's had. So I think you need that guy still at running back. That you can still interchange Nick Chubb in there because I do think Nick Chubb still earns the respect. He still is going to have moments where he looks like he can be all the way back, but you need an every down back that also can be very good in that run game. And outside of that, I think you got to tweak your coaching staff. I think you got to look and figure out why did we go from being a really good run team for the past 3 years, and now all of a sudden we can't formulate a way to run the ball. So I think you got to find you a good run game coordinator to bring in.
We had Stump Mitchell.
I'm just throwing my opinion out. No, Stump wasn't the run game coordinator.
No, I know, but I'm saying we had a good running back coach. Bill Callahan was here. Those guys aren't here anymore.
Yeah. So I think you got to assess that.
Did you ignore quarterback because it's obvious that they need it? Or
I'm not.
You're saying besides quarterback?
Yeah, I figured that was a given.
Look,
G, go ahead.
This is devastating. You're right, Bull. Shout out for you for looking at this. It's looking real bleak. You say you need
the free agent receivers?
No, free agent everything. Here's your options for quarterback. Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Jameis Winston, Joe Flacco is in Indianapolis. They will not let him go. Jacoby Brissett, we already had. Mac Jones, Andy Dalton, Mason Rudolph, and Carson Wentz.
Let me ask you about Sam Darnold while we're here for a second. You mentioned Sam Darnold.
That would be the name.
If Sam Darnold has a great season, like they just drafted J.J. McCarthy in the first round.
Yeah, they love him.
They love him.
They love McCarthy.
Are they going to move on from Sam Darnold?
Yeah, they probably will. I mean, they're not going to pay Darnold because Darnold could get paid starter money.
Right, he's going to get. Now he's got to finish the season off because he's had a great first half. But if he tails off, in the second half,
here's the thing.
He gonna lose money. That's all that means.
The one thing I would say is that JJ's on a rookie deal.
Yeah.
And if you let's say the Vikings win the NFC North.
Yeah.
And they go to the playoffs.
I'm not letting them walk.
You can't.
No, you better not.
You can't.
And there's a good chance they're going to do that. Even maybe not win the North because the Lions are there. But
could they franchise?
They could.
Good.
I can see him doing that.
That's a crazy salary now, though.
Yeah.
Cares.
Yeah, but as Dustin said, they're not paying the other quarterback any money.
Who cares? I mean, so what's the number? Like 35 million?
Coming off an injury where he misses the whole. I don't know. What's he going to be like next year?
Yeah, he's not. Take him off the board.
Yeah.
If Darnold has that good year, and we want him, the Vikings aren't letting him
No.
go. Not for next year.
Yeah.
He,
Right, that's
he
fair.
fit the offense.
The
though.
franchise tag, Dustin, by the way.
It's a 35? That's my guess.
Well, for quarterback this season, it was 38. It'll be a little high, about 40 million.
Yeah, but for
That was
1
close.
year,
Who cares?
Who cares?
Doesn't matter.
I
In
mean,
the
you
receiver
got
market-
you got an owner that says pay it.
Receiver market is worse than the quarterback market.
I mean, T.
T. Higgins is number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Amari Cooper. You already gave him up. Chris Godwin.
How
getting
old
old.
is he?
Stephon Diggs.
Getting
old. DeAndre Hopkins. Old. Deontay Johnson was never that good.
I mean, any of those top 5 guys are better than
What we got.
the Browns' best
but
receiver. But
Hollywood Brown, Keenan Allen is old.
No.
Elijah Moore is 9, and Mike Williams is 10.
yeah.
Ain't nobody in that list.
T.
moving
Higgins is
needle.
the best because he's the youngest, and we don't know can he be a legit number 1 or not. But he's been injury prone. The best option is the trade, or the draft, or getting DK Metcalf in a trade. He's got 1 year left on his deal. Seattle may not want to pay him big money. I don't know, but he's a legit number 1.
And there is no. So that's the power part about the Browns. There is no just easy. Let me go down the yellow brick road and find a quarterback. Let me go get this receiver because he's free agent. Like no, and plus you might not even have a top 5 pick. So. No, they're not 1 pick away. They got multiple holes that they need to figure out. They got multiple guys that you're like, listen, they still need another defensive end.
Yeah. But here's the question. Here's what really Mike is trying to get at. Do the Browns need to can they just not start over, but like if you say a complete rebuild, that means you're trading Myles Garrett, you're trading David Njoku, you're moving on from Nick Chubb. Like, are you doing those things? Or are you just trying to get better, keep the key core guys you have, hope you can hit on a quarterback, whether it's free agency trade or the draft?
The biggest problem with all of this is the development aspect of it all. Because I just feel like if you develop properly, you wouldn't be in this conversation. Like you wouldn't need you've already utilized picks to get certain things, but you haven't developed them to act good on Sundays, and that to me is the problem. I just. Like the reason why
do they have enough talent? Like,
think about it.
Did we overrate their talent?
I don't know. Like you got a right guard. You got a guard that you drafted in the 3rd round, right?
Zinter?
Yeah.
Zinter was 3rd round.
And he was not. He got in there and he was not that good. Do you
That was
think
only 1 game.
he was? No, he started a couple of games. I
He
thought.
started 3 games.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even realize that.
When Teller was on the IR.
He was not. He did not
true.
do well.
Yeah.
And it's like, did you make a mistake in some of the coaches that you hired? Like, because the run game ain't that great. Passing protection and run game ain't good because of the offensive line. Like,
How do you?
Mike Hall still ain't made a splash.
no.
How do you,
what? But these is 2nd and 3rd round picks.
They got a run game coordinator who came from UConn, and I ain't talking basketball. First year, how do you hire a first-time NFL coach and say, "Here you go, here's your running game, take over"?
That's
there
a
you go.
choice.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a fireable offense.
So do you think they need to blow it up?
Yeah, that's not fair, though, dude.
Hold on, watch this. Watch this.
You're saying because he came from UConn, he's not a good coach. That's so
But
doesn't
not
mean he's
fair.
not a good-
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing.
I get it. If you think he's inexperienced, UConn has nothing to do with it.
Think about this. Would you hire a general manager and he's never had experience in the NFL ever from college and say pick the first pick overall?
Probably not.
Would you hire a first-time head coach who has never coached in the NFL or had any NFL experience and say, here, you're the coach today?
Didn't Cliff Kingsbury do that in Arizona?
And he got fired.
Chip Kelly, right?
Chip Kelly tried. He got fired.
Mike, what's our ranking? in
Every
the
coach
rushing
gets
game?
fired,
What's
dude.
our rushing
Yeah.
ranking?
But
One sack tie.
But my thing was that is and the reason I say that okay, is fireable offense hyperbole? Yes. I would say I will take it down a notch and say
29th.
egregious, because what happens
he's not 32nd, so the other 3 is egregious.
yes, there is because you took what was a strength of the team, right? You took what was a strength.
You act like Bill, you
minimized.
act like he fired Bill.
Huh?
He didn't fire Bill. Bill left.
Bill left, and you had no other options. Did you not?
It did seem like it seems like an odd choice. I don't agree that it's a fireable offense, but it seems like an odd choice. But let me ask you, Dustin.
Ask me this.
What do you think they need to blow it up? If you're Andrew Berry, are you trading Myles Garrett? Because Myles Garrett's going to get you draft capital.
Like Myles Garrett, it does suck, but I think they probably have to, and it does stink. But because of the poor decisions they've made, they have to make a decision it sucks. I mean,
Myles Garrett can get you back some of those. They have not had first and second round talent in the draft for a number of years.
Yeah.
You gonna trade
because of the Deshaun Watson deal.
You gonna trade Myles?
I
just can't.
Can't do it.
The reason I can't trust Myles is because I don't trust the development of the coaches. If they was developing guys and I knew that we can get somebody we'll get somebody that can be that maybe one day can be as good as Myles.
Unfortunately,
I can't get rid of a guy that's a guarantee. I just can't. I cannot.
Yeah, you're not living in the reality here, guys. I mean, because the Browns have made such a poor decision. Like, in life, there's consequences. This sucks. They're going to have to trade Myles Garrett, I believe, because they don't have any assets to help build them up. They don't have a quarterback. And until you have a quarterback, what's Myles Garrett do? He's Joe Thomas. That's it.
That's true.
That's the problem when you talk about trading players and you get to a point. My thing is, there's consequences. There's consequences for you fumbling the bag. If it's between Myles Garrett and Andrew Berry, guess what's easier to get rid of?
Well, I guess. But hold on.
My thing is still, even if you trade Myles Garrett, you trust him to get the right quarterback?
Well, that's the bigger question, and the answer to that is no.
All right.
Then you got to find. Well, that's the thing. Are the players not good enough?
Well, you asked me a question about blowing it up, like with players.
Right.
I feel like they need to blow it up internally.
So you think Berry should be fired?
I think he's made a lot of poor decisions, and the Watson decision, you can't fire the owner because he can't fire himself. Someone's head's going to roll, unfortunately, in this situation. And it's probably Stefanski and Berry.
I saw on The Athletic.
I don't think that's fair, by the way. Stefanski, that part.
I agree. I was saying the other day on my podcast that Berry should be fired, and I said I wouldn't fire Stefanski, but a couple of people made the point of saying, well, if you fire the GM, you got to give him a chance to hire his own coach, which is fair.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
So I would fire Berry. I would hire a new GM. If that GM thinks Kevin Stefanski's a good coach, wants to stick with him, that's fine. If he wants to move on, I get it. But the Browns are in a tough spot. They have wasted. You traded a ton of high draft capital to get Deshaun Watson. You've gotten nothing out of Deshaun Watson and missed an opportunity. Like, who knows who they would have drafted? Now, maybe they would have screwed up those picks and the Browns would still be in bad shape. Mm-hmm. But as they've done many times before. But who knows what they could have hit on in those draft picks.
Well, here's the thing also, too.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are trying to separate the two. If you're going to get mad at the fact that the Browns got rid of Baker Mayfield, right? You got mad. People would be mad. Oh, well, Baker could have. Who was the coaching GM who made the decision that he wasn't good enough? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand why we don't make the same step. Like, if people say, well, it's ownership. Listen, if I hire you to make a decision and say, listen, he's up for a contract, I need to know, is he good enough for the extension? And either the coach and the general manager both came to the conclusion, no, we need to go this way.
Right.
Why are you not held accountable for that?
I think they're going to be. I was mentioning, I was looking at The Athletic this morning, and they had a column, what to expect from every team in the NFL the rest of the season. And every team's beat reporter wrote like a couple of paragraphs.
Did Jason Lloyd write this?
No, Jason works as little as possible. It was Zach Jackson that wrote. And he basically
between Zach and Jason, I mean, who wants to work more, or who wants to work less?
That's right.
I'm kidding. They do a very nice.
Zach did write that basically said Andrew Berry's going to get fired. I mean, reading between the lines of what he wrote, and unlike like me on TV or the radio, like Zach's not prone to just kind of throwing stuff out there like that.
No, Zach, I respect Zach because Zach. Even though people don't want to hear it, Zach tell it like it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's unbiased. He just straight tell you what I see. This is what it's going to be. And
so I think Berry's barely wrong. Now that could lead to Stefanski getting fired too, which some of us think, what are you going to do? That's the consequences of the situation. He may get fired. But I think Andrew Berry's going to get fired at the end of this year. I absolutely don't think you can rely on him to find the next quarterback. I don't think you can trust him.
If they fire AB,
yeah.
I think that See, I don't know how to phrase this. I wouldn't completely get rid of him out of the whole thing because I think he does do a great job on the financial side.
Anybody, you can always find another nerd to do that.
No, but I think he's an asset there. I do. Don't look at me like that. That dude know how to finagle. He don't know how to finagle the cap space.
There's no in corporate America.
I ain't said he got to make. He might not.
No such thing as a promotion demotion. Hey, you were the GM. Are gonna move you down to accounting.
I'm just saying.
Nah, bro. I'm not just saying.
We get another.
Y'all are dead wrong.
There's a million nerds out there that can run the cap. It's fine.
Tell them. Don't you respect his ability to maneuver?
They gonna make him a special advisor?
No. I'm not a fan of just firing people. I don't do that.
Andrew Berry's going to be fine. He's made a lot of money. He's a smart guy. He'll be fine. Listen, here's how they've handled the cap. Jimmy has said, spend whatever you want. I mean, Jimmy's a criminal and a terrible owner, but at least he spends money.
I disagree with that. He's a great owner. Thank you again for my checks on.
And by greatest
owner we ever had.
No,
if that's true about the money thing, then why do we have to sell Myles Garrett then for those bad decisions? If the cap
because you need more draft capital.
Because money, we just said went through all the free agents. There's no one out there. Like you need draft picks.
You ain't gonna find no game.
What team builds through free agency? You add a piece for close.
The Rams are the only team that really did that.
The Rams won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl like that.
But the piece that they added,
it's an outlier,
was
Matt Stafford.
Is there a Stafford on that list?
Everybody can go for a price.
The Browns tried it with Deshaun Watson. At the time, I and probably almost everybody thought it was a great idea. It didn't work out.
We got bamboozled.
But now they've got it. Now they've got to do it another way. And they're probably, as much as it stinks, Myles Garrett is old enough that I don't know that they're going to win with him anyway. You can't win. They're not going to win without a quarterback.
They should have traded Joe Thomas at one point. Like that would suck. And I love Joe, and he's an all-time great.
He didn't want to get traded.
I know he didn't. And that's kudos to him. But
and you know what? Dustin, that hurt my heart because Joe Thomas didn't get traded. We sat here and went 1-31. That man sacrificed. He never played one. Let that sink in. One of the greatest offensive linemen players in the league history. Never played one playoff game.
That's crazy.
He stayed here, and his sacrifice was all of them picks we got. The 3 first-round picks. All the guys that we got now that are pillars. The Denzel Wards, the Njokus, the Myles Garretts, the Nick Chubbs. All those guys that we got because we was 1-31 and we had multiple picks. We are sitting here today, and his sacrifice got us one COVID playoff win.
Yep. All that losing
got us that.
Yeah.
And now we at a point where now you got another generational player in Myles Garrett.
Well, I think
if we trade him, what did we get for that?
I think it might get to a point where we sitting here talking about if we trade Myles. Myles might be the one that pushed the envelope and say, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, well, better they trade him before he gets to that point and then his trade value goes down.
Why
if he's demanding a trade,
why would it?
Lord forbid he actually.
Because at the end of the day,
just retires quick.
You could always say
if he hits a quick retirement.
The thing about a player saying he want to be traded, you could always say, we got you under contract.
That never works.
Well, I mean, Myles Garrett could basically, beg for a new deal too if he wants traded.
That's true.
I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
I just think he's the only way they can they have to they don't have what do they have in terms of young, high drafted players?
Well, they mortgage the future, and now they've got to foreclose.
That's right. Yeah.
So y'all's consensus is trade Myles Garrett, fire AB.
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Well, let me give. The pushback is going to be from AB. If I'm AB, I'm sitting here saying, "Hey, listen, Jimmy. I mean, I know you like the offense, right? You know, you're an offensive guy. Have you liked what Kevin's giving you?
You think he'd do that?
Man! Hold on, Jay. I'm just saying. Do you like what Kevin's giving you? I mean, he's great with medium quarterbacks, but you want a top-notch Pro Bowler, right? Has he turned anybody into a Pro Bowler? They just been off. And by the way, I mean,
AB come off as the type of guy to do that.
But this year, I mean, okay, you're looking at the draft. which one of these quarterbacks that you would see out there that you just take off and put in this offense and they're great?
By the way, to that point,
that's messed up.
The Browns have to not make the mistake that a lot of bad teams make. And if they don't think any of these quarterbacks are legitimate number one quarterbacks, they cannot draft them. You can't. Too many teams draft a quarterback in the top 10 because they're like, we need a quarterback. We got to try one of these guys. You can't do it unless you're sure. I know you're never sure.
And it's going to be pressure because if you draft a quarterback, the biggest capital that you have is draft picks and hope.
It's a quarterback you could trade for.
If you talk about draft.
Who?
I'm saying it's a quarterback that's playing well that I know you could trade for.
Who?
Yep.
And he happens to have chemistry with Kevin.
Who?
Kirk Cousins. Michael Penix got to play at some point. He's only on a 2-year deal.
That's interesting.
That is an interesting one. Now, Cousins is kind of getting old. How old is he now?
Yeah, I think he signed. What did he sign? A 2-year deal with him? He got 2 years left this year, next year with
No,
Atlanta.
he signed a 4-year deal.
He's got to be 37 years old, right?
But the money is spread out in a very. I'm pulling it up right now. The money is only guaranteed, I think, for the first 2 years.
The Browns they're not going to, I just don't think they're going to do that again. The problem is, even if it's Sam Darnold or Kirk Cousins, they're already spending a crazy amount of money on a quarterback who's not going to play for them the next 2 years. They're not going to be able to spend a ton of money on another quarterback. They got to get a young quarterback. And it doesn't have to be this year, but they got to get a young quarterback.
And there's this convoluted thing. I don't know. It's even more difficult to identify which quarterback you want if your team does not identify what they want to do. I don't know. What Jameis had last week, it was under center play action game. They came back out of 5 wide. So it would be easy if they said, hey, this is what we are. We're going to run it and envision this quarterback in this type offense. Yeah. So what? I don't know what they want to do.
So what is your feelings of Kevin? So let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. You know the Lions OC, Ben Johnson? Mm-hmm. He's going to be like a hot candidate.
He is.
Mm-hmm. Would you be willing to move off Kevin for him?
What you mean, like offensive coordinator?
No, like head coach. He ain't leaving the Lions for offensive coordinator position.
Look, to me, the evaluation for Kevin Stefanski goes the rest of the season. So if the Browns is looking horrible and they go 2-3 or something, he won't survive that level of
I want to know what his contract extension
You'll never
was.
Well, let me ask you guys this.
They would not release that information.
Who do you guys think, forget coming out this year, who of all the college quarterbacks right now, even if they're not coming out this year, who is the most sure thing to be good in the NFL?
Arch Manning.
Arch Manning.
Okay, 2. Dustin?
I don't know, man.
Will Howard. Go Bucks.
No, he's
No, I mean, who's the best quarterback? I don't know. I mean, I was big on Quinn Ewers early in the year. I think there's 2 guys that are going to be very interesting because of how they play the game.
This year or this year?
I'm saying right now.
No, period.
Oh,
college
I
football.
like
Cam Moore
and Shedeur Sanders.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
But you don't think Arch Manning is more of a short thing than those guys, or no?
I don't know, dude. He's a freshman, man.
I got to see Nico another year.
If he didn't have his last name and he has done what he's done so far, we wouldn't be talking about him.
Okay.
Even when he was in high school,
He's really good. He's really good.
He ran the ball more than he threw the ball. I think he's
Who, Arch Manning?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's an athlete.
fast.
He's an
got them
athlete.
wheels. I'm about to say you ain't see him bounce on the
Funny
dude
because
for
the
like
two of
50.
his 2 uncles are stiff.
We actually have
running.
Dane Brugler coming on next week to talk
Yeah.
about quarterback prospects.
You can wait 2 more years and get Nico from Tennessee.
Cam Ward does some things that
Nico.
it'd be like.
Yeah, I like
What's the
Nico,
beef with
man.
Cam Ward? Why do we not trust him in the NFL?
I'm like, dang.
Because he's like Deshaun.
It's kind of
He's gonna hold the ball.
Yeah, but
he's gonna do some scrambling around.
But he's also
he
a lot.
gonna thread that needle, though.
He's a lot younger than Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
and he hasn't lost his confidence yet,
He
like
can
Deshaun
sling-
Watson did.
He can sling that rock.
He-
though.
he
And
don't-
Deshaun Watson's hurt.
That
He'll
boy
play.
can throw that pill.
He got arm angles. He got pocket presence where he'd be like he about to get sacked. He just moves
He
out
can throw
here.
that
And he's a
pill.
runner.
He's not like
runner,
he
but
ain't
he's not
Vic.
stiff.
Yeah, he ain't Vic.
He's an extender. Now Shedeur Sanders throws a nice football.
So what's his problem?
He takes a lot of sacks. His offense, but I don't know if the offensive line was one of the worst I've ever seen. He takes some sacks, but he can throw, and he has worked with Pat Shermer. Now Pat Shermer is an NFL coach.
We know that.
So he's worked with him. They got more of a running game, and the problem with Shedeur Sanders is this: just be honest. It's the cultural impact. Shedeur Sanders is flashy, and his dad
Shedeur
is
is not coming. They are not.
and
Deion
you
is
know
not
how
letting
Prime
him come
get.
here.
He's not going to let him come here.
You know how Prime
not
get.
happening.
It's not like the kid.
Well,
you
unless
know,
Deion dictates who the coach is going to be.
well, that you're right. That could change it.
Deion, you want to coach in the NFL?
Well, he go to Dallas.
You know the Browns, they would do that.
He go
They
to
would do
Dallas
that.
then, if that was the case.
People would lose their mind.
Oh my God.
If Deion became the head coach of the Browns,
I don't want to do ultimate Browns. I'm going to do ultimate Cavs. I'm switching off that. If he come, I don't want it. Like, listen, man, we already got problems with fathers.
The Browns.
oh my God.